got to behave. I really have to behave now because I see the CEO and the chairman of the board just jumped into the room.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, okay.
I just saw my hair. I was like, I was working downstairs in the basement. So, hey, got the text from Ray.
Stop sharing because I know how busy you are on a Sunday night. There we go. I just stopped sharing. So this is a surprise. And there he is. Folks,
Hey,
you just listened to Gordon on the clip that he made. So why not have him in person?
Surprise, surprise. Hello,
it was
Gordon.
hello, Ray. It was just the shared charisma of Malcolm and Ray. Together, the dynamic duo of charisma. I could feel it. There was like this positive energy in the force right now. So, yes, hello. Hey, greetings, everyone. All of you. As Ray is teaching us all, the plural of you all is all you all. So it's a pleasure to see you guys tonight. Malcolm, did I cut you off mid-sentence, brother?
That's okay. I was just wrapping up on our core product.
I'm a product of the product, guys. It's sitting right here. And complete. Well, right now I'm trying to use these ones. I don't know about you, Malcolm and Ray, but I'm still trying to use these ones up because I like the visuals on the ones in here because it's got the additional graphics. This is the world we live in, folks. When you're in a startup, I heard somebody say it's always fun to be in a ground level opportunity. Somebody says it's really amazing to be in. It's almost like it's subterranean. It's like before it hit the ground level. Malcolm got to see so many flaws. The original comp plan that I was putting together, Malcolm saw there was a few numbers that were different than the final, right, Malcolm and Ray? But I needed to pass the Malcolm sniff test, and it was cool. It was in the earliest days, and Malcolm was well after we had a discussion about Tom Cruise and Ford trucks and living in Phuket. I think Malcolm, we got to the topics of comp plan, but anyway, pleasure to all of you guys. The premier product, as was mentioned, is Prima. In Italian, really easy. It just means first. It is based on the first press of this botanical some of you may have heard of called an olive. And it's kind of amazing that it's the best story in health and nutrition that's kind of never been told. I grew up, it may have been told to you folks, I grew up in a household of herbal gerbils. My mom had a health food store in the late 70s, early 80s, and my dad had a company, a Canadian division of a company called Nature's Sunshine Products that has started in our basement. Those were my first jobs growing up. So I would joke about that and say that was
super fucking fresh banana bread?
that was
Gordy, I got to ask you to unmute again. Sorry, I just had to mute those folks. One more. Click your microphone. There you go.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
What I was just saying is that, like, if you're raised in that kind of environment, you can name a lot of. I know a lot about supplements. It's just a weird thing that I know. I don't know about surfing. Okay, Malcolm. I lived in Hawaii, but brother, I don't know how to what a perfect set looks like or when it's breaking, one way or whatever. But I can tell you about supplements, everything in the entire alphabet, alfalfa, burdock, capsicum, all the way down. And I tell people, quiz me, I know supplements. But growing up, my mom was passionate about olive oil, being Italian. For those of you who are new, there's a picture of my mom on the back there. Those were many years ago when I had long hair. Malcolm, there's like this picture. Somebody brought this over to me the other day, and there's Joe and I in a former life with long hair. And it was a picture of us. There's a surfboard, Malcolm, just for you, brother. And I never surfed it.
I have a quick question. Joe didn't age.
No,
I didn't say Joe didn't.
brother.
If he shaves that beard, he'll look 20 years younger. But I think Rachel likes the beard. He kind of looks a bit distinguished, I think.
If I get all kinds of input at a brand new company, thank you, Beard fan. Somebody gave me the explosion. I get lots of really great input about this way. Here's to fine tune this. I get a couple. One recently was grow your hair long again. I said, probably not possible. And the other one was shave off your beard. And it's like, I don't know if you can stat out that we're going to sell more product because if I shave my beard, maybe we talk about it. But I don't know. I get to do this, Malcolm. I get to stroke my beard. But when growing up in a health and nutrition environment, it's interesting. My mom was passionate about good quality extra virgin olive oil. Being Italian, you're genetically programmed to sniff it out. So she would make the pilgrimage to particular stores to get this imported extra virgin olive oil. She also had a health food store. My dad had a health and nutrition company. So that tells you there was a gap right there that existed. There were no supplements based on olives. And growing up, knowing like herbal gerbils my whole life, my mom health food store, it was kind of fun experiences. People would come in and say, there was a guy that would come in and he would take a product and he would go like this, rub it on his, that's not very good. And then he'd grab another product, rub it on, oh, that one's good. I was like, I don't really know what you're doing, brother. But somehow there's all kinds of modalities of health that I didn't understand, but I did know supplements really well. If you put certain things in your mouth and you swallow it with water, from the time they go from here to the time it gets to here, that's roughly 30 feet. I don't know what that is in metric. I have to think now, my Canadian roots, but 30 feet from here to here, that time, lots of things happen in your body. And what we're learning right here is our core supplement makes it very easy to benefit from the Mediterranean diet's secret, which is extra virgin olive oil in a nice, convenient packet. And this is the part of it that is very American, you guys. They're looking for faster routes to health and nutrition and convenient ways to do things. And we're pretty good at growing businesses. I am American, but I was first and foremost Canadian and still am. So I don't have any Canadian stuff on today. I usually do. But yeah, that's a quick capsule summary. There was a wonderful thing that somebody produced the other day. Somebody was actually present at the moment where my brother and I and my mom posed for this picture. And Ray knows the people I'm talking about. Eric and Heidi Welch, Ray, they were there that day for that moment. And that a little video from somebody's cell phone appeared the other day. It's kind of neat. So I'm incorporating that into a cell phone clip. I see Hearn.
Question for you to share.
Yeah, sure.
As a young boy and having an Italian mom, immigrated over to Canada, you were introduced back to that Italian lifestyle and sent to your grandparents on a regular basis. And then as you grew up and had your own family, you were back over there again. And that's where I found that clip of your epiphany where you started to put two and two. How about you share that with the people here?
I'd love to. I love Malcolm's calls because, first of all, he's usually surprised what we're going to talk about, right? And it's always new. Malcolm usually gets the scoop of like a week before anything else comes out. And I think it's a great way to share. Malcolm, what was happening when I was very young, I lived for a short period of time. My parents were building a house out in the country because they wanted to get off the grid. I actually moved in with my Italian grandfather when my grandmother died. And he didn't speak any English, like zero. My nonno Stefanini, Angelo, my grandfather, this is his radio, this old school radio he brought from Italy right here. That's his. My nonno Angelo never spoke English. I spent an entire year of my life living in the same room as my grandfather, and he would just tell me stories entirely in Italian, and I would get the best I could. As I grew older, my family ended up moving for the summers to Italy, and I spent every summer for many years, like 15 years. I was the same summer. This year we went there, the same house that we rent on an olive farm. And I got to learn first and foremost what were some of the amazing properties of the olive tree. Not just this summer, but over the years I learned this. And I realized that my mom, sometimes we were trying to decide whether my mom was being superstitious or whether there was reality based. Like, you hear things like God's an Italian, and and she kind of jokes when she says it. And I was like, yeah, it sounds good. I don't know if it's based in fact, but then she would say things like, you cannot trust olive oil over here. I'm like, maybe she's just being national pride, but you realize, no, there are generations of people that have been growing olives cultivating olives, getting the best possible product out of this beautiful land they have over there, free from genetically modified products and herbicides and pesticides that we are using here. I had this epiphany and I realized that food behaves radically differently in Italy. And folks, you all know this that are grow your own tomatoes or vegetables. A tomato grown in your garden is a different product than what you buy in the store. You know it, that beautiful taste you get in your tongue, that lycopene rich flavor. I see Hernan on the line right here. Hernan is living in a part of the world that's famous for potatoes. Reason why is the soil up in Idaho is perfect for potatoes, right? You don't hear about potatoes. You got to buy your potatoes from, well, I don't know, wherever, some other place. Des Moines. I don't know what doesn't grow potatoes, but it's a part of the world in the Mediterranean where olives are a key part of the diet and they're high in polyphenols. And folks, all olives are not created equal. All botanicals are not created equal. I We know the benefits of certain phytonutrients, but when you find out that they come in a full court press in this little green fruit called an olive, you start to realize why success has been leaving clues over the years in throughout history. And I don't know what your belief system is in but I just like to point out that the Bible or the Old Testament or even the Quran has many, 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 many references to the olive, and it's usually held in a sacred spot, and it usually set aside for words like healing. And I thought that was interesting that this one botanical that my mother never sold in her health food store, though she was passionate about getting, and this one botanical that my dad never sold a supplement about in Nature Sunshine happens to hold the clues, and it's been right there in front of our face. And so, yeah, that little quick capsule summary, folks, was the moment of epiphany that I had on this olive farm many years ago. And by the way, this is right here. It happens to be in my office. This is the actual olive farm. I canned this particular can of olive oil myself this past summer. And I would come back at the end of every summer, we would just pack our luggage with a bunch of these. And I just hoped that they would never leak, and they never did. And I would bring boatloads of it back because I believed, like my mom did, that you couldn't get the good quality extra virgin olive oil in a regular grocery store in the States. The grocery stores in the States are food made for profits and not for man sometimes. And I believe that. So, yeah. Sorry, Malcolm, I have a little ADD. I'm a little all over the place on this discussion, but I'm hoping that there's some of that distilled down because I was just riffing about stuff that contributed to this, even in the earliest conversations with you, while we were talking about this. This was me transferring an idea from here across the Pacific Ocean to the island you live on. And there was part of it, you were like, this feels like it's right. Of course, Malcolm did his due diligence and Googled and looked about. And sure enough, folks, take my word for it. Start going to Google and chat GPTs and these sort of things and looking into it. And good grief, it's amazing. We got a tiger by the tail. This is going to grow this year. I'm the weirdest quote that I'm being quoted about is I say, this company's going to grow like a rabbit farm on a hormone diet. And it is. It already is. So, hey, you're the best. Thank you so much. I can't believe the idea went from here to an island in the Pacific to all y'all.
The second call, huh? Ray said to me one night, I want you to get on a call. Who with? Never you mind, he said. Put me on. He went, no, not now. He made me wait 2 days. He said, no, Thursday. Made me wait 2 days. A lot of folks, facts tell, but stories sell. And the synchronicities with this company, with you, with your brother, Joe, and his Ironman exploits and being an athlete, and then his injuries and him getting the idea originally thinking, not saying you did, but he was thinking like, it's about time we gave the populace, the people that really need it, a chance to have a company built right. And you go, hold that thought, get your little butt over here. And you said, I'm on to, and then you're looking for Curtis. And where's Curtis? In Italy. And he was sourcing olives at the same time. It all started to come together with Ashley and utilizing the what became Flex because of her back problem. Those synchronicities. Can you remember some of them? They just fell in place, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was, when this idea started to come about, and I remember I called Ray and I said, "Hey, Ray, got an idea." Ray knows to be suspicious when I have that kind of discussion because sometimes I'm just spitballing, but other times it's bigger. And I said, "What do you think of this?" And this moment of epiphany, it happens. It doesn't just happen instantaneously. Epiphany is when you have an idea, but suddenly it's verified by facts. What happened, Malcolm, was we all kind of had an inkling this thing had lots of power and potential. But then around 2005, there was scientific instrumentation and the ability to measure and quantify because it's measurable. It's meaningful impact, but it's measurable. But the measurable part didn't exist until around 2005. Matter of fact, people didn't even know there wasn't even a name for this one phytonutrient in there that is a superstar, and it's oleocanthal. And it's one of the roots of the name of our company is oleocanthal. It contributed to the fact that we were called Oliabo. By the way, I know Joe gets all the credit for being like the hockey player and all this stuff, right? Because he still plays hockey. But in my office right here, right? Like this is my office has a hockey stick close by it right now. I think one of my kids was using it to pull something off a top shelf, but um, this is an idea came, and it didn't just come out of it didn't just drop out of the sky. It was congruent upon congruent experiences over the years, where if you know a particular area of business, you can spot a trend before it's a trend. It's not just me realizing the olive has all this potential. Malcolm, even since you and I started talking a few months ago, the internet seems to suddenly have been lit up like a candle about olives and the benefits of olives and the fact that it reduces cravings for carbohydrates and the fact that it's an amazing supplement or product for things like mental acuity and things like gut health. And it just is this beautiful little package. And when we said the story deserves, okay, Malcolm and Ray and Hernan and some of the early folks, God bless you, because you saw this when it was an idea here, and I was putting visuals as best I could up onto some pitch decks because I was saying we're putting it in a tin for the following reasons. And they saw enough of the belief in the idea. But you guys, it wasn't just a little idea. I knew it was an extraordinary idea. An extraordinary idea needs to be treated with TLC. You can't just, when that idea comes together, you got to know better than to just say, you got to put down your iPhone and stop scrolling through Instagram and say, I got to give some attention to this idea. And so we started sketching it out. And Malcolm said something just now, and he teed it up. I'm not originally American. I moved here, but they say this in America that the best organizations are by the people, for the people, and of the people. And I liked to say the earliest days of Oliabo, I still to this day, gosh, I'm getting input like all the time. I love it. Like Hernan, Ray, Malcolm, a lot of you folks have added input to this company, to the formation of, and contribute to. It's a dynamic way of looking at business too. And not to get too deep here, Malcolm, but when we were doing the comp plan, you know this brother that I play guitar, right? And there's guitars. There's always a guitar close by to me right here. And I'm going to tell you something really weird, but I hope you guys get it. I built a guitar in recent years, and I learned that halfway between the nut and the bridge right here, the halfway point is a perfect octave, right? It's one of those considered perfect things in math. It's a mathematical thing that has to do with music as well. It's an octave halfway down the thing. And I thought, if the comp plan has a perfect point, and that is it's 50% of each CV unit goes to the field in way of profitability, commissions, if you will. That other 50% is what I have to work with in the corporation. That keeps honest people honest. That doesn't mean I'm betting against Malcolm hitting the highest levels of compensation because he's going to be sucking oxygen off the company. I have disciplined it so that it forces 50%. It's an octave. It's a beautiful, music can be beautiful and math can be beautiful if it's treated with respect. And so Wow, Malcolm, you got me all caffeinated tonight on a Sunday night as I was working downstairs. But yeah, that's a little bit about the way that I was thinking about this compensation plan because the industry went through, I don't know, what's the technical word for it? The pits? Is that one? Have you ever been there in the pits?
Wasteland,
I don't know.
Wasteland,
The-
the
yeah.
like all the owners, not picking any of them, but they seem to have lost their moral compass. The new ones and the ones that were already in for a long time. Things got swayed. Talking about moral compass, one of the very
They
first I look for is when you order a product, company I was with, $279 a month, 107 points. And they'll pay out 60%. I'm like, wait. I love that. No, you don't. You're paying up to 60% of about 44%. You're really paying 20. Most people don't catch that. And I just did a clip yesterday and everyone on our team got it, right? You saw where I went through the back office. When you're on a subscription, your dollars match your points.
It's a beautiful thing too, because none of us, you guys, if you have a good sales experience, I don't know about you folks, sometimes buying a car or whatever has to happen is an awful experience. And you walk away feeling like you got ripped off and it's dirty and something's just not right. And then you can have a great experience where you have a great connection with somebody who's solving a problem for you, be it whatever the sales experience is. I felt like the last few years looking around our industry, there was just, I wasn't feeling anything off the industry anymore. And that was unfortunate because this done right, health and nutrition and a business that you can start from your home. These are wonderful things. There are armies of people that have changed lives, changed the financial and the physical look and feel of communities. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I wasn't feeling that. And I said, I clearly lack sophistication, you guys. You see it. My hair looked like it was combed with the leg of a chair when I just got on this call before I put my hat on. Okay. But what I lack in sophistication, I do mean this from my heart to you guys. I absolutely love this industry. I had a passionate mom that loved health and nutrition and passionate about Italian and food and all these things and a dad that was passionate about the free enterprise system. And my Ray knows him. Like my dad was a distributor with Ray in a company for years. And my dad believed in the free enterprise system. And you take this together and you put it in this little ingredient and you call it something, and we call this adventure Oliabo. And these words that at the beginning you're like Olio, okay, Oliabo. Now it starts to flow. But in 1 year, I tell everybody it's like a word like Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs was a made-up word. I don't know if you know this. I hope you have Haagen-Dazs in your neck of the woods. Maybe I should use another analogy for the Aussies, like I don't know, like Vegemite or something. I don't know what Vegemite is, but Haagen-Dazs is a made-up word. Okay, it's
Vegemite's
just a
Vegemite's black axle grease, but we all grew up on it. It's a
yeah, I
yeast
know.
snack, but it tastes like what axle grease. No, Haagen-Dazs. Use Haagen-Dazs. Go.
Yeah, it's probably made Vegemite's probably made up word. It's just like somebody took vegetable, put like whatever dynamite or something, whatever the other word is. But like Haagen-Dazs made up word. We had to make up a word because it's our brand. It's Oliabo is our brand. It means olea, oil, and botanica. You fuse it together and it's Oliabo. But it's until we infuse it with value, until we infuse it with emotion, it's a word. But you could put a lot of emotion into words, folks. You know this. There are certain logos out there and brands and companies that we have learned to trust. There's ironically three words that test in the world very well as far as products, and that is made in Italy. Those three words test very well, and I've always been passionate about that. The made in Italy mark means something. Italians take this very seriously, right? So we take this, we create a brand, Oliabo, and in a year from now, you're going to find out that that word will appear a lot of places. And I like to say when you start a company, if you do it right, you got a brand name, you get your company and the spell checks correct it like it's you're spelling something wrong. You're not doing it right. But in a year, if we do this right, or 2 years, there'll be this magic moment where spell checks no longer see Oliabo as a typographical error. It recognizes it as a real word, right? And that is a big moment. Weird things from me. I like those things. I like those moments. We not it's my company, but it's Malcolm's company, but it's Hernan's company. It's all of our company. This company could be one of those amazing companies that 5 years from now they talk about in a business class. And that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. And that's my little love letter to mia mama. Mia mama era italiana da Treviso qua. And that's her and my dad too. I was like, yeah, I want to honor their legend. My dad passed last year, by the way, folks. Ray knows this, and he knew my dad. My mom passed about 7, 8 years ago, and then my dad passed last fall, and it was sad parting, of course, right? I was with him in the hospital when he passed, but I was like, I don't. I think my dad would be upset if I was doing less than what it was capable of doing with my life and with the knowledge that he gave me. He used to tell everybody proudly, like Henry Ford used to say, "If you cut my kids' veins, they bleed gasoline." And my dad used to tell people, I thought it was weird. If you cut my kids' veins, they'll bleed supplements. I was like, that's the weirdest thing to say. And I was like, but it's a little bit cool. I think it's kind of a little cool in a weird herbal gerbil way, right? So anyway, yeah, that's a little quick capsule summary of the weirdo that's that's at the helm of this thing. And I love my position, by the way, folks. I love being CEO, but my passion really is being with y'all. Behind a desk is a dangerous place to run a supplement direct selling company. And Malcolm, unfortunately, has met a few owners that spend way too much time sitting behind a desk and not out there getting input from folks. And yeah, Malcolm, I can hardly wait in real life, brother, to see you with a microphone attached to speakers in front of a live audience because you can transfer emotion through one of these video screens. It's beautiful. So anyway, by the way, folks, Ray's really good that way too, and Hernan and some of the other people. So anyway,
Hey, Gordon, thank you so much. You went a little bit over 5 minutes. Everybody loved it, every bit of it. I got a request from a good friend of mine on this Zoom. Says, "Where did Gordon get that great hat? What is it? I can't see the logo. What you got?"
this is okay. I'm a hockey fan, and this is my compromise. Utah got an NHL team this year. It's called the Mammoth, and I have season tickets. I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. True and true. This is a weird thing. I know you in down your neck of the woods. Maybe it's Aussie football, and maybe you're a Melbourne fan or whatever.
It was the Calgary Flames.
Okay, or a Flames fan. You would have been a Flames fan where you probably were living, right? So this is the new hockey team in Utah as of last year, and I won't wear the jersey, but I will wear the hat. And they're playing right now. So there you go.
By the way, Gordon, just so you know, I'm going to give you a great night's sleep. You're sleeping well, taking Prima anyway. But in case you have one of those moments, which you will, or have, or will have again, where you wake up and go, "Why did I decide to do this again?" And I'm thinking, I really do know why you decided to do this again. You know, you got caught up in my prayer. I told you, for the last 8 years since we worked together last, I decided there was just nothing else worth doing. And I was going to, downsize my life and retire. And I didn't feel very good about it, but I just saw no options. And my prayer was, I don't remember exactly, was, "Lord, if you want me to continue doing this until you come to get me, better let me know what it is." So here you are, brother. There's the reason. If you ever wonder, you can blame me.
And Ray, I love you to death. You know that, guys. There was an interesting thing. Ray knows the person I'm talking about here. He's good friends with Ray for years, and I asked him about a year and a half ago. Hernan knows him too, and I said, "The industry is in bad space. What does it need?" And I was expecting this list that started with, comp plan and momentum phase and blah, blah. And he stopped and he said, love. I go, love. And he's like, no owners don't love their salespeople anymore. And the salespeople are no longer in love with their companies or their products. And it's like there's been suddenly a lack of it. And I was like, all right, that's something that Italians also do quite well. They get very passionate about things. Ray knows this. Ray, this is the weirdest thing. Like, you guys know Ray long enough. After a little bit, he'll start saying, love you to another grown man, right? Which I think is a very Italian thing because Italian So they expressed love, right? And Ray was like, "Love you, brother," and I was like, "Love you too." And I'm like, if there's a mantra about Oliabo that is kind of one of those warm fuzzy feelings, it's like drop the hate. There's too much of it in the world. Like I got too many people saying I'm starting to hate the industry, and I was like, these are people that are passionate about helping people. So our whole goal beyond the health, beyond the putting running around money in people's pockets. By the way, we're very good at both those things. We are. Trust me on this one. It's something that every one of you deserves. Okay, is better health and better wealth. But we also want to make the planet a little bit more warm and fuzzy. Like, good Lord, you can't turn on the TV anymore without somebody telling you you're too fat or you're too thin or you're too old or you're too young or you're too this and you're too that. And I had no patience for that. Folks, the skills that you're bringing to this call today is perfect. You're ready to go. You put yourself in the energy order with people like Malcolm and Hernan and Ray. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to read names, but I'm trying to get close to the screen to see who else is on the call. But you guys, it's this mongrelization of ideas. Wow, I'm way over 5 minutes, Ray, but it's a lot south of that first 2 hours I spent talking to Malcolm that night. So
That's fine. You know, a little bit to summarize what Gordon's saying.
Thank you, brother.
When we come into this world, we're part of a family. Well, we start out that way. It's sorry to see that half the families in this planet now are one parent, but we're a family. So we learn that part about belonging. Then we become a little kid and we belong, if you're not an only child, to your brothers and sisters. Then you graduate to the street. I'm not talking about gangs. I mean little kids, and you belong to the kids playing kickball and bottolato, this game here, or whatever it is you play. You know, street cricket when I was a kid, and you belong. Then you go to school and you belong with your mates in the classroom, the mates in the playground. Then you join sport and you belong. Then when we become adults, that thing starts to drift away. And the key to, I think, anything that's successful in life is that you have a sense of belonging. And that's where this industry started to fall apart. A good decade, a little bit more, 15 years ago, is that belonging. And when you watch that 7-minute and 11-second clip, or you watch that $1.50 or $1.30 clip, minute 30, that I used to play at the start of our Zooms, where I play the other one, that's the whole sense you get from what Gordon talks about building it right, for the respect, for the love, for what it is. It's that sense of belonging. And that's what you're building here. You're building something where other people can come and belong. And that's a legacy. It's a legacy with what we actually do to people's health. It's not some digital thing that goes and passes. It's not some make a ton of money and then it's gone, and that'll never do it for you. It's that sense of belonging. And I believe Gordon, his brother, Curtis, Ashley, Adam, all of them, Brent, Kent, they all give that sense of it genuinely. And that's why I know, like Ray says, he knew the outcome. I knew the outcome right in the beginning. That second call, when I'm all in, I'm all in. And you should know the outcome too, especially from this call. So, man, Gordon, a surprise for all of us. Appreciate it.
you betcha. And you folks, all of you, from my heart, from my family to yours, I don't know what the statute of limitations is on Happy New Year, the greeting, but in January, I'm Happy New Year and everybody until I make sure that I don't miss somebody. Okay. So here's to the future. Okay. Only limits are limits of our imagination. Walt Disney said it. I believe it. I believe it right here. I believe it right here. So I'm going to step off, you guys, if you're okay, because we're about to have dinner, but blessings to all you.
Thank you, brother. I do love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Cheers. Bye.